Hello and welcome. You join me, ADG, and here we are for yet another race from Wide Open Throttle Racing. So this is a new group and this is a brand new championship. So this is the third race from us guys, and this is going to be a look back at the replay of the race that happened on Friday night. So the first race every week in this group, in this championship, is in the Group 4 car. The second race is always in the Group 3 car. So this time round, the track is Brands Hatch for the Group 4s and Nordschleife for the Group 3s. So this time we are going to watch Brands Hatch back and go through the order quickly, see what everyone's in. So after 15-minute qualifying session, I managed to get a good lap in and put it in pole position. So ADG 123 in pole in the Audi TT. Then we've got GT Jelly B with a good lap in second in the Nissan GTR. Really good job in that car. Same for S2 Law, not the easiest car to drive out of the Group 4 cars, in the Porsche in third position. Really good job. Munguinho in fourth in the VW Scirocco. And we've got Robus in fifth in the Jaguar. Street Boy in sixth in the Lexus. Wrecked Paul in seventh in the Jaguar as well. Then we've got Diablo in the Nissan GTR. I'll just skip up the camera angle so I can see the cars a bit easier. Ginger Crackhead in 9th in the BMW M4. Angus McCotup is in 10th in the Renault Megane Trophy. Chris 74 Mac is in 11th in the Aston Martin. He's regretting picking that car by the sound of it. He's struggling to drive it. Dark Smoker is in 12th in the Mercedes SLS. Random Jake is in 13th with a stunning livery there in the Jaguar. And then Rafael 09 is in 14th with his anti-ghost Ghostbusters livery in 14th in the Aston Martin as well. So without much further ado, we'll jump up towards the front. We'll stick with Stu, I think, for the right at the beginning and hit start. Here we go. Half an hour is about to start. So it's a rolling start in this one. Gives everyone a chance to get away quite nicely. You see me just about to get going and head over the line to start lap 1. Not much drama at the beginning for anyone on the rolling start. So heading through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Let's see if everyone gets through nicely. Looks like everyone's coming through quite nicely. Angus McCotup, slightly different line going on, but nothing to worry about. So everyone comes through nicely. People using the exit curb straight away on the exit of Druids. So nothing really going on straight away. I find with the rolling starts, the action normally starts halfway around the first lap basically. That's when the gaps start coming down to each other and people start making up a bit of time. We'll keep an eye on everyone and see what's going on. So we've got Random Jake right at the back of Dark Smoker putting a bit of pressure on straight away. Chris is watching a battle in front between Angus McCotup. Diablo's gone off. Diablo's fired off track there. So Diablo dropping right to the back now. A few people making a position up because of that. Robus the Hood on the grass up front there. Robus getting back on track but losing a position to Wreck Paul. So a few little moments on lap 1 but nothing too bad. Looked like Diablo's had the worst incident so far and dropped himself to the back. But Diablo's got problems with his controllers and wheels and stuff like that at the moment. Chris 74 Mac having a massive slide in the background there. Going through Paddock Hill Bend for the second time and just lost it. Basically lost the rear end. Drifted it all over the place. Couldn't quite catch it and ended up putting it into the barriers. So unfortunate there for Chris. See what's going on a bit further up. Wrecked Paul has dropped off Street Boy a little bit. Street Boy's chasing Munguinho. Munguinho's right on the tail of S2 Law now. Can Munguinho force the issue and get into third? Street Boy looking for any opportunity that might spring up in front of him as well from the battle. So he just needs to stick with it and look for his chance, the Street Boy. S2 Law dropped Munguinho a little bit there. We're talking about a tiny gap, but he has gained a little bit of a gap. But then it looks like Munguinho's had a killer of a last corner there, and he's caught right back up. Obviously he's got the slipstream down the start-finish straight as well. Goes side by side. Oh, a bit of a moment. S2 Law gets hit, catches it quite nicely, but just ends up going too wide because of it, so ends up in the gravel through T1. Munguinho doing the right thing, pulls over and waits for S2 Law to get going. So bit of a keen moment there probably, and maybe should have waited a bit longer to make sure the move could have been done, executed cleanly. But unfortunately a bit of contact there, and it's ruined the two people's races really. So a bit of a shame to see that early doors, but there you go. So where it goes, it is racing at the end of the day. It's not easy. So I'm away in first, pulled a little bit of the gap away from GT Delhi B, but he's still there. I need to just keep my head down and keep those laps coming in. GT Delhi B just trying to do the same, stick with me and pull away from Street Boy and get himself a nice gap. Street Boy's just trying to stick with Delhi B just to make sure that he can gain a nice gap as well and secure that podium position as early as possible, if possible. Wrecked Paul coming through, and then there's the scrap going on behind. What's happened there? Angus McCoteup's gone. So Ginger Crackhead and Angus McCoteup look like they came together a little bit, and it's all gone wrong for them. So a bit of contact early on in this race from a couple of the guys. Random Jake now started in 13th position. He's now up into 6th because of the dramas that are going on up front. So a good race for Random Jake at this point in time. He's made up a lot of positions there. Roberts, he was in 7th a minute ago, so the little moments that have happened in front have allowed him to come through. Same with Wrecked Paul, so Wrecked Paul up into 4th now. Good race developing here for a couple of the guys. Angus McCoteup with a massive gap away from Roberts, but don't mean to say he's not in for a good race because he's got Random Jake right behind him. Bumper to bumper more or less. Jake putting the pressure on the Renault. That Smoker being chased by Ginger Crackhead now. Ginger Crackhead having a moment and going backwards a little bit. So that Smoker's managed to get through and following nicely. It'll be interesting to see if Ginger Crackhead can make a move to get back past him. So we've got a good little battle developing in the midfield here for positions. Have to keep an eye on it. So Random Jake is in 7th and Ginger Crackhead is in 9th. They're the ones that are battling to get past really. S2 Law just looking to get going again after that incident with Munguinho. None of his fault, but he had to suffer going into the gravel in T1. So he's just looking for a bit of a comeback race now, try and get some consistent laps in, get into the slipstream of the guys in front, and who knows where it could lead in the end. It's still only 5 minutes in this race, so there's 25 minutes to go. Plenty of time to put some good laps in and try and catch up. Chris in 11th, and then we've got Rafael in 12th and Diablo in 13th. Even though they're right at the back, there's still a bit of a race to be had between them. Rafael going wide, very wide. Diablo managing to just keep the line nice and tidy and pulls through as Rafael loses a bit of time on the exit there. So Diablo makes the position up into 12th. S2 Law is getting closer and closer to the back of Dark Smoker, and Dark Smoker's actually lost the position to Ginger Crackhead now, so Ginger's got past and missed the move, but Ginger's up into 8th. S2 Law, oh, big drift from him there. Big drift. If it had gone a little bit wider, it'd have been on the grass and that would have been game over. So, good catch there from S2 Law. Does mean that he's dropped off the back of Dark Smoker, which he was doing a good job of catching up to. So we'll jump up and see what else is going on a bit further up. Random Jake has dropped off the back of Angus McCourt up a little bit now. And they were quite close a minute ago. Angus doing a good job of gaining that gap. Robbie out on his own by the look of it at the moment. Trying to catch up with Rec Paul in front. Street Boy is closing in on Deli B. Still a nice gap Deli's got. He hasn't got anything to worry about. He don't have to go defensive into the corners quite yet, but certainly doing a good job of sticking with him is Street Boy. I've managed to do a 1:27.799 on lap 2 as the current fastest lap. In first position at the moment. This is probably one of my favourite combinations, just to give myself a little explanation of this race. It's probably one of my favourite combinations, is this track and this car together, so it's a really good drive. You can really push it around here in this car, so I really enjoyed it. But enough about me. These races aren't about me, or these replays even though I'm in it, it's not always necessarily, I'm not always involved in the action, and that's the important thing really in these replays, the action that goes on. So Deli B and Street Boy going well enough to pull a really big gap over Paul, but looking to close in is Street Boy on Deli, so he can use that slipstream a little bit more. So let's have a look through again. We'll go skip further down. Looks like Robus. So Angus McCourt has got past Robus now, and Robus is leading a 5-car train by the look of it. So Robus has had a bit of a moment somewhere, I dare say. Dropped a little bit of time, and Random Jake's right on his bumper now. Ginger Crackhead's behind Random Jake in 8th, and then we've got who is it? We've got S2 Law in 9th. So he's having a good race, is S2 Law, to come back through this field. Slow progress on lap 7, but he's doing a good job of it. And that Smoker right at the back of this pack, this battle at the moment now, is in. Oh, S2 Law going for a move on Random Jake. Ginger Crackheads managing to get the run on S2 Law, and so has Dark Smoker there. So they both managed to get past S2 Law, with S2 Law just having a little bit of a slow moment through that corner. S2 Law getting a good exit though, and making it almost 3 wide down the straight. Ginger Crackhead the one that loses out, so Dark Smoker and S2 Law side by side into the first corner. I'm on the wrong person. Oh, Dark Smoker goes wide. I'm not sure if there was contact to miss that, but Ginger Crackhead up into 8th position. I dare say there was no contact, because I know how Ginger Crackhead drives, and he would have waited. So yeah, it either wasn't his fault. Random Jake going off in front, so Random Jake getting back on track, but he's lost time. So Ginger Crackhead right onto the back of him, and S2 Law right on the back of Ginger Crackhead. So Random Jake, just with the dirty tyres from already having that off, just went a little bit deep into that corner and ended up going off again. It's easy to do once you've got dirty tyres from touching the grass. So Jake losing the position there and dropping back into 9th. And we've got Ginger Crackhead and S2 Law having a battle, but making up a couple of positions quite quickly there. Robert Hood, meanwhile, has managed to pull away a little bit and gain a little bit of a gap whilst that battle has been going on behind him. So wisely done there from Robert, managed to get his foot down and get that, get those corners together, and managed to make the most of that battle that was going on and the time loss that was going on behind him. So Ginger Crackhead has pulled a nice little gap to S2 Law through those last couple of corners in that last sector. So he's free now in 7th position, and S2 Law has got a bit of work to do to catch back up to him in 8th. Random Jake with a couple of unfortunate moments there on lap 8, leads on to lap 9, hopefully it's a better one for him. He's in 9th position. Dat Smoker missing out a little bit by going wide into T1 through that battle. Could have potentially made up a few more positions, but made a bit of a mistake. Into 10th now, and Diablo has managed to make his way back from right at the back after a lap 1 incident that dropped him back, and he's fighting to get past Dat Smoker now for 10th. Chris is having a bit of a mare in this one. 74 Mac is in 12th. Just does not like that car, I don't think. And then Rafael, I fear Rafael is going for the reverse grid for race 2, so he's just been pretty much driving around at the back all race on his own, looking for the start somewhere near the front in race 2. So I'm not sure that he's doing that, but that's what I would assume. Diablo going a little bit wide on the grass through there, probably having to lift a little bit just to compensate for that, make sure he doesn't have a big moment. Dat Smoker's doing a good job. He's pulled a little bit of a gap compared to where they were at the start of this lap. Looks like Diablo's just closed it right back in on that last corner though, second to last corner should I say. And then through the last one now onto the start finish straight. That's not really straight. So Diablo battling hard for 10th position, wants to get himself back into this race. We're getting towards the midway point in the race now, so we're roughly getting towards halfway through, not quite halfway through yet. So we'll skip back up, see what else is going on. So this little battle to keep an eye on, but we'll see if there's anything else going on as well. Otherwise we'll drop back to that. Not a lot by the look of it. What's GT Jelly yet? No, he's pulled a nice gap now. So we'll keep an eye on Diablo and Dat Smoker. Looks like the best of our action at the moment. Well and truly tucked into the slipstream of Dat Smoker is Diablo. Oh, Random Jake's off. So big puff of smoke as he goes into the gravel, and it's almost like a bad magic trick. Random Jake ends up in 11th position after that moment. It's really easy to do round Brands Hatch. One touch, one wheel on the grass and you're off really, either on turning or on the exit, and it's enough to really unsettle the car. Dat Smoker handling this pressure quite nicely from Diablo at the moment. They've both gained a position, so they're battling for 9th now. Let's see what Ginger's up to. Not quite caught up to Robbie in front yet. Brands Hatch can throw up some really good close racing, but not this time round. Bit of a gap between everyone in these in this Group 4 race, so a bit unfortunate to see, but don't mean to say the action's over. It just means to say that at the moment it's not action packed. Some good driving going on. We haven't seen many offs, unforced errors. There's been a couple, but not many, so good driving in general going on. It is one of those kind of Marmite tracks as well. I think for a lot of people, they either really like Brands Hatch or they find it really quite difficult. It doesn't suit everyone. Happens to be one of my personal favourites, but I do realise that everyone has their own driving style and everyone's got their own tracks that they're potentially faster on and they like more than others. But for me personally, I've always loved Brands Hatch. I've always loved all the British touring car tracks, to be honest, because I've watched British touring cars for so many years. So Random Jake managed to get going again and get into a bit of a rhythm after a couple of bad laps here and there. Keeps it going in 11th. What is going on? There's not a lot to watch at the moment. We'll just give some individual time to people, I think. Let's keep an eye on Delhi. He's had a really good race here as Delhi. I don't think he's lost his second position at any point, so he's managed to pull a nice gap on third position right from the start. Not quite managed to keep in my slipstream and stick with me, but it's the car that makes the difference on this track, really, I suppose. And this time round I had the car to gain the gap. So Delhi's still doing a really good job though, knocking in consistent lap times. If you look, his lap 7 and 8 lap times were actually identical lap times. You don't see that very often, so fair play to Delhi B. That is the mark of consistency there. We were talking about this the other day, funnily enough, and I've only ever done it twice, exactly the same lap time, and I've been racing for years. Oh, going on board with Delhi now, and just went a little bit wide through there. Had to lift a little bit just to regain the front. All in all though, keeping it nice and steady and tidy. Early on the brakes to make sure he has no dramas through the corners. So Robbie looks like he's catching Angus now. Still a big gap between them, but it looks like at this point in the race Robbie's just free to, there's no pressure behind him whatsoever, so he's just free to put in good fast laps and try and catch Angus in front. And it looks like, I haven't got any delta times when you do the replay, but it looks like he's catching him. Coming through T1 up into Druids for the 14th time, lap 14 now. Coming down the hill, down into third gear, run it wide onto the exit curb, and then look to get your braking right for Surtees now. Quite a late apex is Surtees really. You don't want to be hitting the curb too early because you're just going to push out wide on the exit. So you want to be looking to hit the late apex as Robbie shows us there, with a nice corner, and then you're off down the straight. Crucial corner is Surtees for this long straight. Anyway, I'm running out of things to say. Oh, that's too low, flirting with the grass there. Manages to have a little moment, but gets away with it. Diablo up into 9th. Not a bad race from Diablo to say he was right at the back after an incident straight away. I think it was on lap 1. Random Jake got himself back up into 10th now. He was in 11th a minute ago, so good job there from Jake. Dart Smoker in 11th now. Dart Smoker has a decent result here, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Dart Smoker, because I know he doesn't finish in 11th, so be interesting to watch Dart Smoker as he comes through. Chris just sat on the side now, retired from the race. For whatever reason he's decided that he doesn't want to continue, so just sat at the side on the start finish straight and waiting for race 2 to start now. So let's go back up again and see what's going on. Is Robbie catching up anymore? Looks like the gap's pretty similar to me. So I'm running out of things to say. I really am, because there's not a lot to commentate on other than people just driving around quite nice and neatly. Lap times I suppose we could start comparing, but not always that interesting either. Rex Paul doing a great job in this race, keeping it nice and consistent in the Jaguar, and going well. He's gone for the simplest of liveries there. He's just painted his car black. So Street Boy actually closing back in on Deli B here. Again, it's not close, but it looks like it's closing up a little bit between these guys. Street Boy looking to get close enough to get in Deli's distance slipstream, and if he can, then he'll start catching up a lot quicker, as we all know. Slipstream is king, especially down the long straights, not necessarily through the corners, but down the long straights on these tracks it always helps. Just have a quick glance with everyone really, see if anyone's feeling any kind of pressure from closing car behind and having to push harder and making mistakes. At the moment it looks like everyone's got everything under control. Angus McCourt up with a big cow on the side of his car there, couldn't think of the word. Robbie is definitely getting closer. Keeping an eye on this as well. Not a lot going on there. So Robbie and Street Boy are the people to watch at the moment. Street Boy still pushing, but not in that slipstream at the moment. Not far behind though. It must be close to getting into Dell's slipstream. Robbie in a similar position. So we're coming towards the end of the race now, a couple more laps left. We're on lap 17. I remember thinking at this point in the race, it felt like the longest race I'd ever done. Just because there's a lot of concentration involved in Brands Hatch to just keep it on track, never mind putting fast lap times. That's the only thing I could really put it down to anyway. It felt like a hell of a long race, even though it was only half an hour. I've done a lot longer races than that, but yeah, felt like the longest one I've ever done. So Robbie managing to catch up a little bit, but still not making any major moves on Angus. Let's take a look at Street Boy. Jump on board with Street Boy, and again Dell's doing a really good job of keeping that gap to keep second place. Just checking on myself, see how I'm going. I did have a little moment at one point, I can't remember what lap it was on, but well, I think it looks like lap 17 to be fair. My lap time's a lot slower. So last lap I had a bit of a moment where I went wide and had to gather it up on the grass. Luckily I didn't spin, otherwise GT Deli would have come through to win the race. But yeah, I managed to keep it going. Come over the line to start lap 19 into Paddock Hill Bend. Look for a good exit on the exit curb. Anyway, Deli doing the same. Street Boy skipping between them. There wasn't much distance between them then. Again, I don't think, unless something happens to Deli, that it's going to close up enough for Street Boy to make a move. On the other hand though, I think this one could do. Robbie is pushing at this point to get closer and closer to Angus, and he's managing it. He's closing up on him. so it will be in the slipstream now. Will rob us. Really like the livery on the side of Angus's car there. It's done a good job, looks very professional. No doubt that livery was partly to do with Stu Law, as most liveries are. He comes up with the designs, he's an absolute legend at it. Seems to take him about 2 minutes as well to come up with some really good designs for everyone's individual liveries. Well, logos. Come on, Robbie. What's he gonna do? He's just putting one of his best times together at the moment. So let's see if we can bring that over the line for a fast lap. He's got the slipstream, so it should be quite a fast one. So 28.6 in the end. He's been doing consistent 29s for quite a lot of laps, so it's a faster lap for him all of a sudden. But like I say, he has got the slipstream now. He's just gone faster again through sector 1. I'll quickly skip through and see what else is going on before it does get close, if it does get close between those guys. Let's see, that Smoker in 10th, S2 Law in 11th now, so Stu has had a little issue somewhere. The guy I just mentioned about doing all the logos and stuff has had a little issue somewhere and dropped back a little bit more, and that Smoker's managed to regain 10th position. Rafael in 12th, and Chris, as we know, just parked up at the side in 13th, so it's all going to look a little bit different in race 2 with the reverse grid. These guys will be starting towards the front, and it'll be up to them to try and have a good race and keep it there. So we'll jump back towards Robbie. I know we've watched this for quite a long time, but there's not a lot else going on. Oh, I've actually finished now, so just come over the line to finish as Robbie. Angus has actually managed to get another lap in, just managed to get over the line before the time ran out. So the guys behind now finishing. So in 6th is Roberts the Hood. Ginger Crackhead in 7th has already come over the line to finish. Diablo about to finish up, and now in 8th. Good finish overall in the end from Diablo. 9th is Random Jake. That Smoker's going to bring it home in 10th, with S2 Law not too far behind him in 11th. And then Rafael's going to bring it home in 12th because Chris is no longer involved in the race. Chris is 13th. And then we'll jump back up towards me at the top. And I'm just coming through the last corner, so coming through to finish what was a really good race for me. Nice consistent race and finishing first. One of my better races for a long time, that. It's not often I actually pull away and gain a massive gap. GT Deli B in 2nd, doing a really good job. Pulls over the line to rectify a bit of an issue that happened between him and Street Boy earlier. He felt it was fair to let Street Boy finish in 2nd, so he did do. So Deli finishing in 3rd in the end. Wrecked Paul in 4th. And then Angus McCope winning a really good race with Robbie keeping in front of him towards the end, and finishes in 5th. So that concludes race 3 of Wide Open Throttle's first championship. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for joining me, and if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave a comment as well, and I'll see you again next time, hopefully, for race 4 around Nordschleife. It's a good one. There's plenty of incidents and action to be watched on that one. I know there is. Hopefully it'll come across really well on the replay, and I'll do a good job of it. Take care, see you again soon, and adios.